Today is the 1-year anniversary of the tragic shooting at Marjory Stoneman Douglas that killed 17 people, wounded 17 others, and began a movement that notched quite a few wins in terms of state level gun control laws, concern for how terrible guns are. And we want to look back on those who lost their lives in this shooting. Here you're going to see a list of the names of the 17 different individuals. Also, their ages listed there because although we probably don't need a reminder, many of these victims were very, very young. And of course, we live in the sort of country where this sort of violence, where people who are 13, 14, 15 years old, they lose their lives to gun violence completely unnecessarily on a daily basis. I wish that we were capable of memorializing all of them. I wish that we lived in a country where we didn't need to have that problem. But we are gonna look back on this particular shooting. It has been 1 year, Brett. It's really flown by.
It really has flown by, but yeah, you always ask yourself on the anniversary of certain occasions, like, does it feel like it was a full year, less than a year, more than a year? And in this situation, I guess my reaction is it feels like both. It feels like it was a long time ago in that I don't really know if I can point to any legislation that's been done in what seems like they've had a long time to accomplish it on a federal level.
On a federal level, yes.
And it seems like just yesterday, because when you think of where, I mean, I was here, I'm in the same workplace, and it doesn't feel like it's been a full year at the very same time.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, man, time really does fly. I mean, Donald Trump has been president for more than 2 years. How crazy is that?
But like I hear David Hogg is going to Harvard. You know, he's graduating.
Yeah.
So it's like,
yeah, and if you think back on all that they were able to accomplish, I mean, putting together a nationwide movement, rallies, marches, putting pressure on state level and federal lawmakers, I think dramatically and perhaps fundamentally changing the conversation about gun control, elevating some of them to national figures. It has been pretty amazing. Now, some of the figures you're seeing there in our B-roll, they are going dark on social media, perhaps understandably so. While we tend to focus on what they have accomplished and what they have done coming out of this experience, we should also remember that the survivors have been hounded by attacks and conspiracy theories, and they've had to deal with so much in the year since the shooting actually happened. So it's understandable that some of them would like to take time off of social media, where invariably they are attacked on a daily basis. But one of the survivors, Cameron Kasky, did tweet out, "Today marks 1 year since the shooting at MSD. To the millions of people who watched the horror unfold from their homes, thank you for caring. Thank you for telling our story. Thank you for helping us show that Parkland is stronger than anyone who tries to ruin us." And I also saw a tweet from the president saying, "In the year since their friends were killed, the students of Parkland refused to settle for the way things are and marched, organized, and pushed for the way things should be, helping pass meaningful new gun violence laws in states across the country. I'm proud of all of them." If you're listening to the podcast and that seems like not something Trump would say, it's because it's the last real president, Barack Obama.
Yeah. Today, I believe what Trump tweeted was funding bill for a second.
Yes, 2 words, funding bill.
Took it down and then followed up with, we're talking about the funding bill at White House.
Yeah.
Because I think he was searching for
an explanation.
What was happening with the funding bill in the public eye to see what he could react to. But yes, this is it. What strikes me a lot is just as more time passes, you really get a feeling for you can never have a feeling for what these people actually went through on the day of the shooting, but really just they have to continue to live with this in the aftermath of it. And obviously that never goes away for them personally. It is good to have anniversaries like this where it's not good that they exist in the first place, but it is worth on anniversaries like this just taking time to realize that these people are still gone, the ones who died, and the people that were there around them are still living in the aftermath of it, and it is incumbent upon us to support, even if they do go dark on days like this and for extended periods of time or whatnot, it is incumbent on us to keep that fight alive.
Yeah.
Just because we're not marching for the lives every day, we still have to look for opportunities to affect change.
Yeah, or for every shooting. I know there will be some people who will be like, okay, well, there's a lot of tragic days like this. I mean, you could have anniversaries for any number of absolutely horrific mass shootings, just ones that have happened in the past couple of years. Not to mention the sort of regular, everyday, expected gun violence, some of which rises to the level of mass shootings that'll just happen one day. 4 people will be shot in a city or something like that. That happens because it's America. I like to think that one of the reasons we memorialize this event is because we care about all of those.
And it will sounds dumb to say, but it will always be on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
For the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
Something that, even on the day they were exchanging Valentines.
Yeah.
And that is supposed to be a symbol of love and hope and wholesome and, making your life whole by loving someone. And there will always be now, going forward, a void in all of their lives.
Yeah.
And
I wonder, so I've had bad things happen to me. I've never had anything even approaching a percentage of this. I wonder, in the past year, how many of them have had a day that they didn't think about it or have to think about it?
None.
Yeah.
None of them. And then, anyone who's been through a tragedy knows that, if you have a full day where you didn't think about it, the next time you do think about it, you feel a little guilty.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think that within a year, that feeling would have gone away.
Yeah. Now, I do want to also mention, we sort of alluded to this earlier, some of what this movement that was launched was able to accomplish in the past year. According to the Giffords Law Center, legislators on both sides of the aisle in 26 states and Washington, D.C. enacted 67 new gun safety laws last year, some of those in Florida as well. But there is bad news too, because look, we know how the news cycle goes, we know how our consciousness goes. There are people completely lacking in empathy in this country, there are people who have tons of it, but even we're humans. And we were talking this morning about, doesn't it seem like Ralph Northam is kind of gonna be okay? That as passionate as everyone was, and we're gonna have a guest on next week to talk about it, you can't pay attention to everything, and people unfortunately do move on, and that is reflected in gun control as well. So a new NPR poll found that 51% of Americans support stricter gun laws in the US. While that's a slim majority, it's a significant drop from when the same poll was conducted last year, soon after the Parkland shooting, when 71% of Americans said gun laws should be tightened. A 1990 Gallup poll found that 78% of Americans wanted increased gun restrictions. That was literally decades ago. Now, 42% say that stricter gun legislation should be an immediate priority for Congress. Last April, that was at 52%.
Yeah.
And so while you have particular issues that people are unambiguous on, Ro Khanna tweeted this out, 84% want expanded background checks, 70% wanted a bump stocks ban, 58% want an assault weapons ban. In general, in terms of it being a priority, despite the best efforts, a generational push, people start to move on. And not because we're safer, not because we dealt with the problem, just because time has passed.
And I do want to say, if other things that are equally jarring to look at in data and numbers and firsthand sources. Jonathan Larson from TYT Investigates, you should really check out his Twitter because he has an amazing look at an internal memo from Smith & Wesson, where they are very dispassionate in their appraisal of what this has done to their reputation, because they are the ones that made the rifle that was used during the Stoneman Douglas shooting. Things like Smith & Wesson visibly within violent crime reporting, their visibility remains small in that reporting. So they don't think that their reputation really has been hurt. And things like, it's not worth addressing this problem, our reputation among people that wouldn't buy our guns anyway. Yeah. We're still motivated by profit, and we would take a hit from the Second Amendment community. So we're just gonna lay low and wait till it passes, and it looks like it has.
Thank you very much for watching this clip from the Damage Report. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell on YouTube to get notifications of our new videos. And of course, you can catch the full Damage Report live every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on TYT Network on YouTube TV.